Shadows that remember. Kaelra stood at the edge of the valley, her silver armor glowing under the twin suns. Her sharp blue eyes scanned the strange land below. The valley was quiet. Too quiet. Behind her, her squad of alien soldiers waited for her command. They were strong, proud, unafraid. But the human, Sergeant Cole, stood a little farther back. He didn't look afraid either, but he wasn't calm. His jaw was tight, his hands clenched, and his voice, when he spoke, was serious. "Commander Kaelra," he said, "don't go down there. The readings are wrong. This place, it's not natural." Kaelra didn't even look at him. "You humans are always afraid of what you don't understand." "I've seen things like this before," Cole said. "On another world. We lost good people. You'll lose yours too." She finally turned to face him. Her voice was cold. "You are not in command here. We do not fear empty shadows." Cole didn't reply. He simply took a step back and whispered, "You should." Kaelra gave the order. Her soldiers marched into the valley. As they entered, the wind died. The air grew heavy. Strange whispers floated through the silence like forgotten voices hiding in the rocks. But there were no enemies in sight. No movement. Just silence. Kaelra lifted her hand to her ear. "Report." One soldier's voice came through. "All clear, Commander." Then another voice. "Movement. I think I saw something." "Static." "Private," Kaelra called. "Private Jex?" "Nothing." Her eyes narrowed. Suddenly, one of her soldiers dropped to his knees. He clutched his head and screamed. Kaelra ran toward him, but by the time she reached, he was unconscious. His face pale, his mouth still open in a silent scream. Another soldier shouted, "Commander! There's something in my head. Ah!" And then he collapsed too. Kaelra's heart pounded. This wasn't a battle. This was something else. Behind her. The wind picked up again, but it whispered in a language she didn't know. She spun around. A shape moved in the shadows. It was her own face, standing in the mist. But it wasn't real. It couldn't be. Kaelra took a step back. The figure spoke. "You should have listened." She fired her weapon. The light hit nothing. The shape vanished like smoke. "Fall back," she shouted, but only 2 soldiers remained standing. One of them, barely conscious, pointed to the rocks. "They remember us." Kaelra pulled him to his feet. "What do you mean?" He coughed blood. "They remember every fear and every lie and every sin." And then he dropped. Kaelra froze. The rocks weren't rocks. Not really. They were bones, old, ancient, twisted together like forgotten memories. She turned to run and ran straight into Cole. He'd followed her. "You still think this place is empty?" he asked quietly. Kaelra didn't answer. Cole looked at the valley. "This is what happens when you ignore pain. It grows. It waits. And when the proud enter, it feeds." Kaelra's voice shook. "What is this place?" Cole looked her straight, in the eyes. A memory, a weapon, a warning. Behind them, more whispers began. Louder this time. Closer. Kaelra saw her own face again, but this time it was crying. Begging. And then she remembered something she had buried long ago. Her sister. Dead. Her fault. The zone was pulling it out, feeding on it. Kaelra dropped to one knee. I can't stop it." Cole didn't move. "No, you can't. But you can listen now." She looked up at him. The proud alien commander. Broken. And the human, standing strong. Cole extended his hand. "We get out. Together." Kaelra hesitated. For the first time in her life, she accepted help from a human. As she reached for his hand, the zone screamed around them. The shadows were not done yet. The pain of truth. The pain didn't hit Kaelra's body first, it hit her mind. As Sergeant Cole helped her stand, her knees buckled again. Not from weakness, but from something far worse. Memory. Not her memory. The zones. The ground under her feet pulsed like it was alive. Her ears rang, but the sound wasn't from outside, it was from deep inside her head. It sounded like crying. Her own voice as a child. She shook her head. No. This isn't real. Cole didn't reply. He just kept walking beside her. Calm. Controlled. They moved through the mist as the last of Kaelra's soldiers disappeared behind them, taken by the zone or worse. Why is this happening? She demanded, sweat dripping from her brow. What is this place? Cole answered, softly. It's what your kind ignored, what mine barely survived. Kaelra winced. We scanned this region. There was no life. There's no life here, Cole said, but there is truth, and it hurts. A glowing shape appeared ahead, floating above the rocks. Kaelra stepped back. It was a child, an alien girl, one she had once known. Lyra, Kaelra whispered. But Lyra had died years ago. A long time ago. She stepped forward, reaching out, but Cole grabbed her arm. She's not real. Kaelra pulled away. You don't understand. I left her behind during the Sulcan invasion. She begged me. Cole interrupted, his voice low and firm. That's what the zone wants. It remembers your regret better than you do. The child's face changed. Her eyes turned black. Her mouth stretched open unnaturally. She screamed, a scream full of betrayal. Kaelra fell to her knees. Tears welled. I should have listened to you, she said at last. Cole knelt beside her. It's not about me. It's about you listening now. Suddenly, the ground cracked behind them. A long arm of rock and smoke stretched from the earth like a claw. Cole stood, pulled Kaelra up again, and shouted, Move! They ran. The valley around them was shifting. The bones in the rocks glowed red now, like they were burning with shame, anger, grief. Kaelra stumbled but kept going. Her mind raced with images, her failures, her cruel orders, her pride. They reached a cliff. There was no path forward, just a drop into nothing. Kaelra turned to Cole. We're trapped. He looked around, then pointed to the narrow ledge on the side. It's small, he said, but it leads to the other side. If we're careful, we can cross. She looked at the thin stone. One wrong step meant death. Kaelra had never trusted a human before, never relied on anyone except herself, and yet, she nodded. Go, she said. Cole led the way. Every step was tight. The wind blew dust in their eyes. Whispers filled their ears again. Failure, coward, liar. Kaelra closed her eyes, then opened them again. One step at a time, at the center of the ledge she slipped, her foot hanging over the abyss. Cole turned and grabbed her hand just in time. I won't let go, he said. She looked into his eyes. For the first time, she believed him. He pulled her up. They collapsed on the other side, gasping for air. Kaelra lay on her back looking at the sky. It was still dark here, but she could see stars now, just barely. Why didn't you leave me? She asked. Cole stared at the sky, too. Because I've been in your place. We humans, we learn slow, but we do learn. Kaelra turned her head toward him. I want to learn now. Cole didn't smile, but he nodded. In the distance, something big moved beneath the ground. The zone wasn't finished, but Kaelra had changed. She was finally ready to listen. Trust the enemy. Kaelra had never held a human's hand before. Now she was gripping one, not out of duty, not out of command, out of fear, out of trust. The path behind them was gone, swallowed by the whispering earth. The only thing keeping her upright was the strength in Sergeant Cole's hand. You're not my enemy anymore, she whispered. Cole looked at her. I never was. Kaelra looked away, ashamed. They walked forward. No path, no map, only instinct. Cole stepped slowly, his boots crunching against soft ground that seemed to breathe, like the planet itself was watching. Kaelra limped beside him, every step heavy. Her armor felt like a cage, her memories like chains. "Why are you so calm?" she asked suddenly. Cole glanced at her. "I've faced worse." "Worse than this?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stopped and bent down near a strange stone. A white flower was growing from it, alone. "My first unit," he said. "Dropped into a psychic death zone. Only I made it out." Kaelra stared at him. "You're a survivor." He looked up. "No, I'm a listener. That's why I survived." A low rumble rolled beneath their feet. The mist grew thick again. Kaelra grabbed her blade. Cole didn't move. A figure appeared, not a monster, not a soldier, her. Father dead for decades, his eyes locked with hers, cold judging. "You let our name fall," the image said. "You led them to death." Kaelra stumbled back. "No, you're not real. You ignored warnings. You lost your team. Shut up." She lunged with her blade, but it passed through smoke. The figure faded, and Kaelra fell to her knees. "Again?" She whispered. "Why is it always my mistakes?" Cole knelt beside her. "This zone isn't punishing you," he said. "It's showing you the price of silence." She looked at him, her voice cracking. "Then why doesn't it show you anything?" He took a slow breath. "It does. Every second. But I don't fight it anymore." Kaelra looked down. "Then teach me." Cole stood. "First rule," he said. "Don't hide from pain. Use it." A new whisper came, but softer this time. Not like a scream, but a question. Both of them turned. The valley was changing again. In the distance stood a massive stone gate, cracked, ancient, glowing with energy. Kaelra's eyes widened. "That wasn't there before." Cole nodded. "It appears only when you're ready." She hesitated. "And are we?" He looked her in the eyes. "Are you?" Kaelra clenched her jaw. She didn't want to go forward. But she knew now there was no going back. She stood tall. "Let's finish this." They walked toward the gate. The ground began to tremble. As they neared, the air thickened, pressing against their chests like invisible hands. Whispers turned into voices. Real voices. The last words of her soldiers, the last words of her sister, the scream of her younger self. Kaelra kept walking, every step a weight, but also a release. When they reached the gate, the symbols lit up, reacting to her presence. Cole placed his hand on the stone. It didn't move. "Only you can open it," he said. "This is your truth." Kaelra swallowed hard, then stepped forward and placed her palm on the center. The gate hissed, opened. Inside, only darkness and a stairway going down. She looked back at Cole. "Are you coming?" He gave a small nod. "Right behind you." As they entered the darkness, the gate closed behind them. Kaelra's heart beat louder than the silence. She had trusted an enemy. And now, she wasn't sure if she was walking into salvation or her final judgment. The core of the zone, the stairway into the earth, didn't feel like a tunnel. It felt like a memory swallowing them alive. Kaelra gripped the wall, her fingers trailing over cold stone that pulsed beneath her skin. Each step down stole the warmth from the air. Her breath turned visible, not from cold, but from fear. Sergeant Cole walked behind her, silent, watchful, as if the zone respected him or feared him. "What is this place?" Kaelra asked, her voice echoing softly. Cole finally spoke. "The heart, the thing that remembers, the place that feeds on what you bury." Kaelra's steps slowed. "Then what does it want from me?" Cole answered without looking up. "Truth, and maybe change." The stairway ended. A massive underground chamber stretched before them. Its walls glowed with faint blue veins, like the inside of a living creature. In the center stood a monolith, black as space, taller than a starship. Kaelra stepped forward. Her chest tightened. Every surface of the monolith shimmered with her memories, reflections of the choices she never faced. She saw herself giving orders, cold, proud, ignoring the pleas of her dying squad, ignoring Cole, ignoring everyone. Kaelra whispered, "Why is it only showing my failures?" Cole walked up beside her. "Because this place was made for leaders." She turned. "What?" He looked at the monolith. "The ancient race that built this zone, long before us, used it to test their commanders. If you weren't ready to carry the weight of others' lives, this place broke you." Kaelra stared at the images of her past. "So I failed." Cole didn't argue. Instead, he asked, "Do you want to keep failing?" Kaelra didn't answer. The monolith pulsed. Suddenly the room changed. They weren't underground anymore. They were on a battlefield. Kaelra's battlefield. Smoke, fire, screams. Her fallen soldiers stood before her, eyes hollow. They walked toward her. "You abandoned us," one whispered. "You lied," said another. "You led us into death." Kaelra backed away. "I didn't know. I thought I was right." Cole's voice cut through the noise. "Then prove you've changed." Kaelra fell to her knees. "I didn't know how to lead. I was scared and I hid behind pride." The ghosts stopped. The battlefield faded. Silence returned. The monolith pulsed again, brighter. A deep voice echoed in the chamber. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien. It was old. "You speak truth," it said. "But is it enough?" Kaelra stood. She looked at Cole, then back at the monolith. "I want to be better," she said. "Not for glory, not for command. For them, the ones I failed." The chamber rumbled. The monolith cracked open. Inside it something floated, an orb, shining with pure white light. Cole stepped forward. "That's it, the memory core. What's left of the ancient ones. If you accept it, it binds to you." Kaelra stared at the light. "And if I don't?" Cole's eyes were calm. "Then this place stays, and you carry the pain forever." She took a breath, then stepped forward. The moment her hand touched the light, everything vanished. Kaelra awoke outside the valley. The sky was clear. The mist was gone. The screams were silent. She sat up. Cole was there, watching her. "You passed," he said. Kaelra looked at her hands. She felt different, not stronger, not faster, but aware. "Why did you help me?" she asked. Cole stood. "Because someone once helped me, and that changed everything." Kaelra rose to her feet. Behind them the valley was sealed, the entrance gone. But inside her, she carried what it had shown, not just pain, but understanding, and maybe one day, forgiveness. Her final command was not what they expected. They didn't salute her when she returned. They stared. Commander Kaelra, once proud and untouchable, walked back into the base with only one other person beside her, a human. No squad, no victory, and her eyes, they were different. General Vok met her at the gates. His voice was sharp, like a knife. "You disobeyed orders. You led your unit into silence. You returned with shame." Kaelra didn't flinch. "I returned with the truth." Behind her, Cole stood quiet, watching. Vok's fists tightened. "Truth? You think we care about your truth? 20 trained warriors are gone." Kaelra nodded. "Yes, and it's my fault. I ignored the warnings. I was arrogant," the crowd murmured. She wasn't shouting, she wasn't defending, she was admitting. Vok stepped closer. "You will be tried, stripped of command, maybe exiled." Kaelra's voice didn't rise. "Then do it. But first listen." Vok blinked. "Listen?" he scoffed. "To a disgrace? To a survivor," Cole said sharply. "She walked through something your brightest minds can't explain." Vok turned to Cole. "You don't speak here, human." Kaelra stepped between. Them. No, she said. He does. Gasps followed. Kaelra looked around. None of you know what's inside that zone. You think it's just a cursed place. But it's not. It's a test. A mirror. And if we don't learn, it will destroy us all. Silence. Then a soldier shouted, "We want vengeance, we want retribution." Kaelra raised her hand. "You want revenge for their deaths? Then listen to why they died, because I thought leading meant never being wrong." She paused. Her voice cracked. "I was wrong." No one moved. She walked toward the command center. "I'm not your commander anymore, but I leave you with this. If we keep pretending pride is strength, we will fall one by one, until only ghosts remain." Cole followed her. Vox shouted after them, "You're walking away from everything." Kaelra turned back. Her eyes were calm. "I'm walking toward something better." That night a meeting was held. Without her, without Cole. But their words spread. Faster than orders, deeper than protocol. Soldiers whispered about the zone, about the ghosts, about the truth that eats from inside, and about a commander who came, back changed. Somewhere far from the base, Kaelra sat on a rock under the stars. Cole handed her a ration pack. She didn't eat. Instead, she looked at him. "You really think change starts with one person?" Cole smiled faintly. "It always has." She looked down. "You know, I never said thank you." "You don't have to. But I want to." Cole nodded. Kaelra stared at the sky. Her voice was soft. "They're going to rewrite everything about what happened down there, aren't they?" "They'll try," Cole said. "But those who were ready to hear already heard you." Kaelra stood. "Then we find the rest. One mission at a time." Cole looked up at her. This was not the same woman who walked into the zone. This one didn't need a command badge. She had something stronger now, purpose. The awakening of her people. Commander Kaelra didn't return to the battlefield. She went, somewhere louder. The training halls. She stood in front of dozens of young alien cadets, fresh recruits who still believed war was just about orders and weapons. They didn't expect her. They expected a speech. Instead, she gave them a story. "I lost 20 soldiers because I refused to listen," she began. No greetings, no titles. "I thought being a leader meant never questioning myself." The cadets leaned in, confused. "I led them into the Valley of Echoes, a place that remembers every fear, every lie, every moment you wished no one would see." Murmurs rippled across the room. One brave cadet stood. What did you see in there?" Kaelra looked him in the eyes. "My sister, begging me not to leave her. I left her. She died." Silence. "I saw the soldiers who trusted me. I saw how they looked at me before they died. I saw the human I mocked. Save me." Gasps. A few looked toward Cole, who stood quietly near the wall. Kaelra continued, "And I saw something worse than death. I saw myself. The version of me who never changed." A female cadet stood. "But you survived. That means you were strong." Kaelra shook her head. "No, it means I broke. Then I listened. That's strength. That's leadership." She took a step forward. "You are told that humans are weaker, slower, less advanced. But I'll tell you what they do better than us." Everyone leaned in. They adapt. They fail. And then they learn. We bury shame. They face it. She paused. Her next words fell like thunder. "That's why he's here." She gestured to Cole. Gasps again. Some stood in protest. "A human? In a training hall?" "Yes," Kaelra said calmly. "He will teach you what I never could." Cole stepped forward. "I'm not here to command," he said. "I'm here to make sure no one else dies like they did in that valley." 3 days later, something happened. The General Council summoned Kaelra. She expected punishment. Instead, She found 12 silent officials. One spoke. "You have started something dangerous," she didn't argue. Another one said, "Some say you betrayed your rank." She nodded. "Maybe I did. But others say, you did something more. You woke something." Kaelra raised her head. "What if leadership meant more than following old scripts?" she asked. The room went still, and then, slowly, one of the oldest counselors said, "Perhaps it's time we rewrote them." Word spread. Across the outer colonies, soldiers began to ask instead of obey blindly. Commanders began to study human tactics, human values, and at the center of it all, Kaelra and Cole, the unlikely pair, the former commander and the human she once disrespected. Together they opened a new training program, one based on failure, reflection, change, and truth. They named it the Mirror Doctrine. That night, Kaelra stood on the balcony staring into the stars. Cole joined her. "You ever think we'd get here?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "No. I thought you'd punch me before you thanked me." She smirked. "I still might," they both laughed. Then Kaelra's face turned serious. "You think they'll accept it? This new way?" Cole looked out at the darkness. "They will. Because the old way is crumbling." Kaelra nodded. "Then we better be ready for what comes next. Because when you start a change, not everyone wants to follow. Some want to stop you. And those shadows, they still remember. When the shadows returned, she didn't run this time. They came during the rain. Not enemies with guns or ships. Kaelra could have handled that. No. These were the whispers. The zone had followed her. It began with her reflection. In the glass of her war room she saw herself, but not the current her, the old Kaelra, eyes proud, cold, sharp, the one who walked her team into death. She blinked. The reflection stayed. "Still pretending you've changed?" the image asked. She turned away. "Not now. Not again." Later that night, Cole entered her office. "You feel it, don't you?" he asked. Kaelra didn't answer. She stared at the map table, where red lights had begun to flicker near the edge of their territory. Same coordinates, same silence. The Valley of Echoes had awoken again. "Why now?" she whispered. Cole sat across from her. "Because they saw your strength, they saw your change, and some shadows. Don't like the light." Kaelra laughed bitterly. "What, is this poetic now?" "No," Cole said, "it's personal." A day later, her base received a distress signal, not from soldiers, from civilians, miners, families, children, trapped near the valley's edge. Kaelra looked at the screen. She didn't hesitate. "I'm going." Council officers tried to stop her. "You've done enough," they said. "Let someone else handle it." Kaelra stood tall. "I refused a warning once. I won't refuse a call for help." They had no words for that, just silence, and the memory of who she used to be. The skies were gray when she landed near the valley. Her boots hit the ground hard. She heard no wind, only the echoes. Behind her, Cole stepped down from the ship. "You really think we can save them?" he asked. Kaelra looked toward the hills. "I don't know," she replied. "But I know this time. I won't run." They found the miners huddled in an old supply outpost, eyes wide, faces pale. One child cried, "They're inside our dreams." Kaelra knelt beside her. "They can't hurt you anymore," she said softly. "Not if we walk through them." The child looked up. "But I'm scared." Kaelra smiled gently. "So am I." She led the civilians herself, guiding them step by step. Through the creeping mist, whispers rose again. Ghosts of her team appeared, dead soldiers with hollow eyes. "You left us. You forgot us." Kaelra stopped. She turned to face them. "No," she said, "I carry you." Her voice echoed through the zone. The shadows paused, and then they recoiled. Light began to glow from her skin, the memory core pulsing from inside her chest. Cole shielded the civilians as the mist split open around them. "Move," he shouted. Kaelra stood between the shadows and the innocent. I won't let fear speak louder than truth ever again. The shadows screamed and shattered like glass. Hours later, the group reached the extraction ship. Every civilian, alive. Kaelra stood at the edge of the ramp staring back at the valley. It was still now, quiet. For the first time, peaceful. Cole came up beside her. You didn't fight them, he said. You faced them. Kaelra nodded. That was the real battle. Back at the base, cheers erupted. Not because she survived, but because they had changed too. They saw something stronger than pride, louder than rank. They saw a leader who learned. That night, Kaelra stood alone on the balcony once again. Stars above. Shadows below. But this time the voice inside her said something different. You listened. And for the first time she whispered back, I always will. The end.